focused pack, something we've not had in 8 long years. It was way overdue. Everything from the cast to the build buy to the activities is geared towards, at least in a stereotypical fashion, the teen life state. Now, it is not exclusive to the teen life state. It does have bleed over appeal. Naturally, life is not an exclusive life state. Okay. So, young people, teenagers, some of them like to knit with their grandma, and grandmothers, some of them like to go to the amusement park and actually ride the rides with their teenagers. That's a really good point in its favor. So, where it suffers way too much on it. Hi, I'm Jason Sterling, and this is The Sims 4 Werewolves. This is the final video in this set of 3, taking a before look at this pack based on the live stream that Maxis put out, and grading it before it gets here. We'll take another look, of course, once it is actually here, coming up next week. But for now, we're going to look at the world. We're going to look at some activities that are kind of tied to the world more than high school. We looked at high school activities. We're going to look at world activities this time and the world itself. And we're going to have a sort of miscellaneous section of just some catch-all things that didn't fit in the other 2 videos. And a final review on this pack and a final grade on this pack. We're going to grade the world separately, and then we're going to grade the whole pack itself. Okay, let's start with the world. It's called Copperdale. It is another small, rural, suburban style town in The Sims 4 that used to be a logging community and is now, I guess, maybe going for the tourist angle because there is an amusement park here now. So I feel like it's going for kind of the tourist angle. It is another small rural town arranged around the lake La Suie. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's the best I can come by with what I heard on the live stream, La Suie. There are 3 neighborhoods here with 12 lots. Now, 12 is not a huge number anyway, and it's actually a little bit less than that because 2 of the lots in the first neighborhood are actually locked in their function and locked in what they do. So, the first neighborhood, let's look at those first. The first neighborhood is Rock Ridge Heights. And that is your school zone. Okay, at Rock Ridge Heights, you've got a 64 by 64 lot, which is your primary high school building zone. That is locked. That is where your high school is. If you demolish everything there, if you get a mod and somehow change the designation of the lot, I expect high school will be broken. Now, you may want that because when I was a teenager, I wanted high school to be broken. And if you want that in your game, get yourself a mod and change that lot to something else. But if you want high school to work, that lot is where high school has pretty much be locked as high school. The lot next to it is somewhere between a 20 by 30 and a 30 by 40. I really don't know, and I never saw a note on this, but something along those lines. That is locked as the auditorium. The auditorium is where you're going to have graduation and prom, and I think a couple of other things. But it too is locked. So if you somehow change its designation, if you just bulldoze it, I don't know what you're going to end up with, but I know that is probably not going to work the way it should, right? So if you bulldoze it and you send all your Sims to an empty lot for prom, I don't know what you're going to really get much out of it. But hell, give it a shot in both cases. Knock down the high school and just put a fire ring there. See if they go to lunch and grill hot dogs or something. I don't know. It could be fun because that's always fun in and of itself. Destruction's always fun in The Sims 4 in and of itself. In fact, I can't wait to set the high school on fire. Get the more fire mod, right? The more fires mod, bigger fires mod, and start a small fire in the high school. Burn the place to the ground. Now that would be fun. That would be fun. Set up a chemistry lab. You guys are in there doing your chemistry work. Just burn the place down, right? Serious. Now, it would appear at this lot that you can go there at any time and kind of hang out and do, your due, right? Because it does seem to be somewhat open and you can stay there after school. You don't have to leave, which I mentioned in another video, might be an opportunity to open up a boarding school. Just have your Sims sleep there, set up some sort of facilities for cooking. I really don't know how long the adults of the school will hang around. If you remain as a student after school, that'll be something to see what happens there. It would be more realistic as a boarding school if at least one adult remains on the lot. Maybe the cafeteria server remains on the lot. I don't know. You can probably bring the cafeteria server back just by selecting higher, server, right? That's probably going to be an option like most of the stalls. So that's one thing I see for there. And I do think you can probably visit it at any time because it looks like kind of a standard lot on the map, unlike the other active career lots, which are hidden, right? Right. I hope that it is accessible at any time because I intend to put the library there at the high school. There was no library in the high school on stream. I intend to actually put a library there, knock down the library in town in Prescott Square, I think it's called. Knock down that library because there's not very many lots, as I've already touched on. There's only 10 of them that we can use otherwise. And that's not enough room for a library, you guys. And speaking of Prescott Square, let me double check the name on that. Yeah, Prescott Square. It's kind of the downtown of this little town. So a little town style downtown. It has 5 lots here. 4 of them are 20 by 15 lots. Those are small. Those are really small lots. There's not a lot to build on a 20 by 15, although you can fit some stuff on there. You can, and I'm going to definitely try to fit some stuff on there, but they're definitely small lots, and there's one 30 by 30 lot. Now, I will say this, in a downtown area of a small town like this, yeah, typically you're going to have smaller lots like that. You're not going to have a big sprawling suburban lot in the middle of a downtown in a small rural town. Okay, I'll concede that, but it does limit building options in this case. I guess it's kind of a build challenge. I guess you could look at it like that. Like, what can you fit on a 20 by 15 lot? What kind of house? What kind of business? In this case, there is a business, and it's called the Thrift Tea. Get it? Thrift Tea Shop. Okay, so it's a thrift store / boba tea shop. Now, this may well be the best addition to this pack, even though it's a high school years pack. This is a really nice kind of store setup. You go in there, you can have some tea, you can do some thrift store shopping, and it ties into the trendy phone app, which is a new phone app. And what you do is you go to the thrift store and you put together outfits based on what is in their inventory at that time, which is a random rotating assortment of things. Once you have those things in a bag, you can take them home and either wear them or you can upload them to Trendy, which is an app that allows you to sell those bundled outfits. So it's always going to be kind of a bundle. And based on your hype and your Instagrammable reputation, right, you'll get more money based on those outfits. You can also use Trendy to buy outfits, but here's my thing with that. It doesn't show a picture of what you're actually buying, so it's more of a grab bag, right? You're just getting some random assortment from some chick on Instagram, and you are hoping it's going to be good. And you know how the Sims puts clothing together in-game. It's probably not going to be good, but I guess you can always resell it. If you don't like it, you could turn around and resell it back on Trendy. It does appear that's a possibility. So it's going to be fun, I think, from a standpoint of it's going to be a bit of a surprise. You don't know what you're going to get. That actually is kind of fun, although I think it'd be more realistic that you would see a picture and somebody like, look what I put together. Isn't it gorgeous? It costs $300. And I bought it for $5 at the thrift store. I do think it'd be more realistic if there were pictures online. We would expect to see pictures of what we're buying. But the grab bag thing in game does introduce an element of surprise, right? So I'm going to give him a pass on that. And I do think this might be one of the best things in the game. I'm really excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, here's one thing I'm worried about. A lot of the thrifty stuff is locked behind a play wall in Cass, right? Now, is that the only area they're drawing from for thrift store items, just from the locked items? Because there's not very many locked items, you guys. There are some, but that's going to get real boring real quick if it's always that same rotation of items. So I'm hoping that they draw from the main cast selection as well, because that's going to extend the longevity of that interaction, of that mechanic being added to the game. If it's just those locked items, it's going to get real boring real fast. And I think it's mostly going to be female items real quick, real fast, right? You're not going to have a lot of male selection. So my hope is that it does draw off of cast completely. Now, the other drawback I see with this thrift store is that it doesn't sell anything but clothing. And for some reason, they put in a whole bunch of stuff to make it look like it sells other things. I do not think that is the case. It does not appear to be the case. So I'm not real sure why you're going to set it up as a real thrift store if you can't actually buy old furniture and stuff there in the fashion of the flea market in San Myshuno. Why are you going to do that? I really don't know, but that seems to be how it's set up. So I say, why didn't you just set it up as a thrift clothing store, like a consignment shop? We have a couple of those in my town where you just go and just sell old clothes, but it's not set up that way. Now, I am thinking to try and see if this works to put the clothing racks, the thrift store clothing racks, in an actual retail lot, right? So then the rest of the retail lot, I could sell old furniture and stuff. I've made a sort of thrift store like that before. I'm doing quotes again. I do that all the time because it's not really a thrift store, but because no one's going to donate things to it, right, to be resold. But a thrift store, I've done that before. So if I could set up that thrift store using the retail system from Get to Work and then throw in the thrifty clothing racks and have it actually work with Trendy, that would be a godsend. That would be really, really great. And maybe that's why there's some extra items there to kind of give you that idea, right? Try it this way. I am hoping that that works. Fingers crossed, you guys. Let's see if it works. Now, as I touched on, they don't just sell clothes here. They also sell boba tea. There's 5 different flavors of boba tea with a straw. Isn't that cute? I do think that's cute, actually. I do think that's cute. And you know, the boba tea is a nice extension of the general cafe food stall setup. It's not groundbreaking, revolutionary, but it's nice. It's a nice extension. It looks like there's some food for sale there as well. I don't know what. I'm assuming just kind of a general baked goods, maybe 1 or 2 new ones, maybe some blending in of some base game ones. But there's some, I expect there will be something to eat there as well as drink. That's really it for that neighborhood. A couple of residential lots are thrown in, including the lot for the founder of the town, which is an NPC character shown in the trailers, whose name I forget right now, but anyway, you know who it is. So will they still be living there 1 hour after I get this game? Probably not. They're probably going to get evicted and their house bulldozed, but that's okay. That's what I've said before, because a lot of people are going to look at this real quick. Let's throw this in and say there's no place to build in this game because there's no empty lots, with the exception of the park coming up in Plum Bite, our next neighborhood. But there are actually 10 empty lots in this town. You just bulldoze what's already there. So you don't have to keep anything that is already there. You guys, you don't need an actual empty lot included to build on. Every lot is an empty lot. And in fact, technically you do have 12 of them because you can just bulldoze a high school and auditorium. Hell, put anything there. Put an amusement park there. Who cares, right? It's your game. Give it a shot. See how it goes. Our last neighborhood is Plum Bite Cove. It is residential with an amusement park attached, right? So you've got 5 residential lots. Technically right now, you've got 4 residential lots and a park, which is not really needed. And then you've got this separate amusement park area, which is not a buildable lot, but it is a large visitable area of kind of activities. Okay, and even though it's not customizable, you can't do anything with the amusement park, we're going to tackle that first. And I would say with Tool Mod, there is some opportunity here to add things to that area. There's not a lot of open space, but Tool Mod can sometimes clear things out too, you guys. Go in and delete it. But assuming you don't delete it, you have 4 major activities here. You have let me make sure I get these right, the Grave Mine Ghost House. You also have the Cuddle Carts, which is a kind of Tunnel O' Love type of setup. You have the Silver Spinner, which is the Ferris wheel, and you have a photo booth, which we touched on a little bit with Prom. All 4 of those are rabbit holes. All 4 of those are rabbit holes with choose your own adventure cards that pop up during it. You can have woohoo in the Tunnel O' Love and the Grave Mine House and the Ferris wheel, which is to their credit. That is something to do. So you can have woohoo in them. I don't think you can woohoo in the photo booth. That would be cool if you could woohoo in the photo booth and little pictures would pop out, but I don't think you can do that. Maybe that was just going too far for them. I don't know, but that would have been awesome. That's where you really would have done it anyways, in that photo booth. But okay, let's skip that. Let's look at this amusement park. What can I say? It's very disappointing, the fact that it is a choose-your-own-adventure rabbit hole park. It is not a true amusement park. Yes, a Ferris wheel goes around. You can't see your Sims in it. Yes, there's a kind of ghost house, and you can't go in the house with your Sims. Yes, there's a Tunnel of Love, but you're not going to go in there with them either. These are just rabbit holes. Even the photo booth is a rabbit hole because you can't really pose your Sims yourself. You can check off a pre-selected list of poses. I don't even know if you get pictures from it. It shows pictures in the marketing, like little pictures pop up. That means nothing, because at the end of the day, I don't think you actually get a picture from it, like with Yamachan when you do the selfie, and then you can't ever find the picture, right? The picture doesn't exist. So I'm not thrilled with this. It looks great. It looks great. Is there storytelling possibilities? Totally is. Totally storytelling possibilities here. There's even a possibility for some manipulation of it, like I said, using a tool mod, using a mod, but not really otherwise. In addition to these 4 really basic gameplay options, so basic, I don't even really consider them gameplay. I don't consider Choose Your Own Adventure text-based gaming, which is 40 years old. That's like from the 80s or something. I don't consider that really to be gameplay. I'm going to be honest with you. So it's really disappointing. You do have 2 food carts here. You have an ice cream stand, which is nice. I'm glad to see that. I do think that's cool and a lot of fun. And you have a boba tea doing double duty. You have that stand doing double duty here as a boba tea type of cart. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And using tool mod, you might be able to throw in a couple of more stalls, right? It would be nice maybe to throw in some sort of merch stall here. Would have been cool if they'd done that. And I think you could probably the stall from the festival for the football game at high school is going to be in the menu, the cast build by menu. You could probably maybe use tool mod to put that here as well, because selling school related merchandise at this amusement park isn't too much of a stretch. Beyond that, that's all there is to say about the amusement park. I'm just going to say there it is. It is what it is, right? You've got 4 residential lots. Keep them or knock them down as you will. And you've got a park lot, which I kind of recommend just knocking down, because the things that are really involved with the park lot are kind of the teen hangout area we've seen with the sofa by the river. Very cool. I do love that. It's great storytelling potential again. And I love it. I think it's very cool. It's very much a teen looking type of place, right? Teenagers dragging an old sofa down by the river to hang out, very in keeping with kind of real teen life. Okay. So I love that, but you don't need it designated as a park lot to get there and do that. And the park itself isn't needed. You have swimming and fishing in 2 different locations. The first location is over at the pier, which makes a lot of sense, being able to fish off the pier, the amusement park pier, and jump in and swim around it does make a lot of sense. It's a perfect place for it. There's another more isolated place for both fishing and swimming. That is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It's a little superfluous, right? Superfluous in that we already have that by the amusement pier and probably downtown as well, right? So it's a little superfluous to have yet another spot. But for storytelling, if you want a more isolated spot that looks like you're camping out in the wilderness, it's there, and I think it's fine, and I like it. And that's that neighborhood. That's all there is to that neighborhood. The lots, I don't know what the lots are. There's like a 30 by 30 lot and a 20 by 20 lot and 3 other lots. One that looks like yet another 20 by 15. Okay, another really small lot. One that looks like probably a 30 by 40 and then a 20 by 30. That's my guess on those. And it really is a guess. It was almost like they were trying really hard not to let you see what size the lots were. I don't know that that's the case. Maybe they were just moving really fast because of the stream, the time constraints. But at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes when they even went to click on a lot, you couldn't even see what the size was before they clicked on it, right? So I don't know. But that's my guess as a builder dealing with lots regularly, kind of what it looks like. Okay, one last thing about the town. It does remind me a lot of Moonwood Mill, almost as though the two could be connected. So you've got the mill area and you've got the town area. Again, great for storytelling that those two almost feel like they should be hooked together. So you've got the mill that used to help run the town that was also kind of a mining community, kind of ties together. So that part of it is nice. And I do like the design of the town for that reason, better than I might otherwise like it. Let's jump into what's left of this pack, and that is a few miscellaneous items. There is going to be a new update to base game for Wants and Fears, right? Now, people have been wanting this Wants and Fears for like a really long time, and it is okay. It's okay. It's not like we've had in the past. Of course, The Sims 4 is not like it was in the past, so that's part of the reason why. You're going to get, as they called it, long, short, and reactionary fears. So long-term fears to deal with, short-term fears to deal with, and reactionary or wants, and reactionary ones, which would be like, okay, we went to the library lot and your sim wants to read a book, right? The example for the fears is that, you're going to have this fear of not being successful, basically, right? Not having your dreams come true. And so you go and you talk about it with other Sims, and as you talk about it, you work through it, and then the fear either goes away or at least lessens substantially, and you don't have the negative effects from it, which primarily the negative effects with something like that looks to be a sad moodlet, right? That is the big fallback in the game, and one of the things that hampers The Sims 4 long term is the reliance on moodlets. And especially since, like, recently one of my Sims had, like, I don't know, 24 moodlets as a werewolf lined up, and it was a random chaotic switching from happy to sad to tense to, whatever, scared, all in this big line. Kind of hampers the game a little bit. Now, if you have a fear of fire, it's a little bit different and a little bit better in that Sims with a fear of fire, if you don't tackle that fear, then like they won't want to go around things involving fire like campfires and the fireplace. And if your lot catches on fire, they will not be one of the Sims going to try to put it out. They're going to vacate immediately and take off. That's a little bit more of a change that I would expect with the fear, and something I do kind of really like there. The better thing with a fear of failure would maybe be not even wanting to take on things to fix it, because oftentimes a fear of failure and a fear of not having success leads you to not actually attempt to be successful. But that would have been a lot more complex than just throwing you in a sad mood. The new fears and wants is a relatively minor upgrade to the game, I think, at least at this point. Will they adapt it? Oh, they might. Anything can happen. And it is what it is. It probably is a little bit better than the whims, and you'll probably enjoy it a little bit more. Now, you also have 2 new deaths in this game. One death is tied to pranking the locker, and it goes off prematurely, and you die from the stink bomb, right? Which is actually kind of funny, and I do like that. Simmers love new death and new woohoo. We got both new woohoo at the amusement park and new death. Primarily, I guess, at high school, maybe at home too. One of them is at home, I think. The other, because that's the other one. The other one is a fear based or a death based on urban myth. And they didn't show it, but the idea is kind of that, I guess it's based on Rosemary's Baby, where you go with another Sim and you stand in front of a mirror and you kind of, I don't remember exactly how this works from when I was a kid, but you kind of try to call Rosemary's Baby, right? And then like a killer jumps out of a mirror and kills you. Well, in this case, no killer's going to jump out of the mirror naturally in The Sims 4, but you will scare yourself to death. So that's another form of death tied into urban myth, which is a great teenage addition there, I think. I do really like that. It's pretty simple, but it is really a nice addition, and I think kind of an imaginative addition. So I'm giving it maybe more credit and more points than I should, because I do love it. You have 2 new channels on your computer. If you wanted 2 new channels on your computer, one is like a lifestyle channel and one's a game streaming channel. And tied to that a little bit, of course, is I guess really the trendy sort of app is kind of playing off that a little bit. Not literally in game, but imaginatively it is. The gaming channel, you can have a new streamer career. And what's the other career? Oh, Simfluencer. Yeah, so that's where I'm thinking trendy, right? You're an influencer, wear these clothes from the thrift store, right? So you have those 2 new sort of minor careers, which really are just an adaptation and an expansion of basically what we've had since Get Famous, because you could kind of do that and Get Famous as well, have an online career like that. They should be open to all age ranges. I think they're cool enough and it's okay, and it's great to have some more career options that are pretty active, and you don't have to leave the lot and go to a rabbit hole or go to like the lab, right? Or police station or whatever. One thing that I think is a misstep with the streamer career is you're going to be on SimTube, obviously play off YouTube, and they have a selection of new icons you can choose, like for your profile for your character, the little animal faces. That's very cute. It's very cute. I like it. And it's also very now, right? It's very cute and it's very now for a particular group of people. And I think, we're going to be looking 2 to 3 years from now, and that's going to seem radically dated, right? When that trend wears off, when that sort of thing, when it kind of wears off and we're all kind of like, oh my God, why did I ever do that? It's going to seem really dated. So, I mean, while it's really cool for right now, I think it's going to be really dated and get really old really fast because there's only a few of them. And I don't think they really do anything. I mean, it's not like it's probably going to be on screen or anything, like with the animal heads that actually mirror the streamer, I don't think it's going to be like that. We have a new phone UI update, which makes it look like an iPhone now or a smartphone. And there are 2 new apps that come with it. Of course, Trendy, which we've already touched on. Trendy's the big new app on it. The other app is Social Bunny. Social Bunny is like a sort of direct message social app. Now, the big drawback with it, of course, is that everything is pre-written and pre-programmed. So you're not going to be writing your messages yourself. You're going to pick happy message, sad message. I mean, it was pretty limited in what you're doing. Or like, I read a book. Do you want to do a happy message or a sad message? And even the sad message could be taken as good, right? So they're kind of played off of so that they can do double duty. That's a drawback. It's going to get old really fast. Unless they put more messages in randomly with updates in the future, it's going to get old really fast because you're going to see those same things over and over and over. It's going to be fun for this pack for, probably your initial playthrough of the pack. Long term, I don't think it's going to be that much fun. Now, if you do get a social boost for it, and it does help you make relationships with other Sims by talking back and forth with them, great. That'll be a positive addition. If not, then it lessens its viability even more. Now, real quick, let's look at the world and give it a grade before we jump into the final review here. I would say that this world, this was a really tough one for me. On one hand, boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is an expansion pack world, and it's only got 12 lots, and there's only 10 of them you can build on, and they are ridiculously small, most of them, right? About half of them are 20 by 15. So that lowers its score, in my opinion, as a builder. Also, a lot of the world, a lot of what we're looking at, the amusement park, which looks super good on marketing. It looks super cool. It's like you really want to go there. It's all a rabbit hole. That definitely lowers it, in my opinion. It also looks like worlds we already have, which balances out, because on one hand, I wouldn't normally like that. It's yet another small rural world. On the other hand, I do like the fact that it ties in the Moonwood Mill, right? So it does kind of make it feel like it's a larger world spread over 2 packs. So I was really torn here between a high D and a low C. So that's a little bit below average and a little an average. It really suffers from the things I just listed off. The amusement park area took a big hit for the amusement park area. And it took a big hit for the number of lots and the size of the lots tied into it. And then it just balanced out for its style and the way it looks. And for me to say it looks good, it does look good. It's a great world. The Sims 4 doesn't have that much trouble doing worlds, and this would be an average representation of that. It's a good enough place. It is not that striking. What makes it striking is the amusement park pier, and that is not that great. So I settled on a C, like a 70%. You got a C. You barely got a C, but you did get an average grade on that. Maxis for the world. And that's going to have to suffice. I wish that it was a little more exciting and a little more fleshed out, but it's not. So that's the world. Now let's jump into the overall review and see what overall grade we're kind of going to give this thing. Okay, the first thing going in this pack's favor is it is a teen life state focused pack, something we've not had in 8 long years. It was way overdue. Everything from the cast to the build buy to the activities is geared towards, at least in a stereotypical fashion, the teen life state. Now, it is not exclusive to the teen life state. It does have bleed over appeal. Naturally, life is not an exclusive life state. Okay. So young people, teenagers, some of them like to knit with their grandma, and grandmothers, some of them like to go to the amusement park and actually ride the rides with their teenagers. That's a really good point in its favor. So where it suffers way too much on an over-reliance of either rabbit holes or the rabbit hole mechanism, because saying that high school is an active career, and then you go there and you pretty much have a lot of standard rabbit hole choose your own adventure pop-ups coming. That's still a rabbit hole. Yes, we can see it, but what we're seeing doesn't have anything to do with what we're being offered. So that really handicaps this game. That really hinders this game pack, this particular pack. And that is a big, big drawback, the over-reliance on rabbit holes. And high school doesn't necessarily have to like high school. High school could be any random hallway, any place. It could be the mall or the gym or the library or a park. Having students interact with each other and having the drama of your teenage years take place at high school. Just because you've named it high school doesn't make it high school. It needs more than that to actually be a high school. And those parts were left out or relegated to rabbit hole choose your own adventure cards. So is there a point to high school if everything is just about the drama and the interactions in the hallway? No. And that's another good point I want to make here. I made this in the other video, that a lot of what they're talking about, a lot of that drama actually takes place in the classroom, not in the hallway, or it takes place after school at places like the boba tea shop or down by the river. The stuff in the hallway at high school does not take place in the hallway. You're not in the hallway that much at high school, as anyone who's been to high school knows. You don't have 2 hours for lunch to go and have the drama, right? You've got maybe 30 minutes for lunch, stuff like that. So high school does not come across as high school. It could be anywhere. Now, that said, is this pack without merit? No, not at all. There are a lot of good things in this pack. There are a lot of positive things in this pack. I made a whole list, in fact. There is the usual stuff with this pack that we've come to expect from The Sims 4. It has great storytelling potential. It has great cast creation potential. It has great build mode potential, right? Especially does with the new curved walls from build mode. And the windows that open, right? You've got some great upgrades to this pack that really do booster its score. They have put some effort into this pack. You have body hair, you have facial hair, you have the ability to shave your facial hair and it will grow back. Can I stress any harder that is an important development? No, I can't, because that is a really important development. All of those things I listed are. The thrifty place is really cool. The trendy app is super, super cool. I really like that. Cheerleading is very cool. It's maybe a kind of a minor addition, but I do really like it. Prom, a minor addition, but something I really do like. Even going to high school, and I'm going to do it my own way, like we all should, even that I really, really like. There's a lot of opportunity there, building, storytelling, cast creation, and some gameplay. Now, the game players are not going to like it. I'm going to just say that. If your total thing with this pack, like so often happens with The Sims 4, is just gameplay, like you just play it and that's it, you might like it a little bit, you might like it for a while, but overall, you're going to be disappointed. And you're going to say, like you said in other examples, the amusement park is boring. High school is boring. There's nothing to do. And I get that. I get where you're coming from, and that's why I acknowledge that and kind of call it out. It does not mean this is an awful pack. It means it's an awful pack for a certain segment of the game players within the Sims community, and I totally acknowledge that. But there is a lot to merit here, and I think some people like myself who are really into building and storytelling and then gameplay kind of drives that. Gameplay is the motivator for my building and the motivator for my storytelling. That's going to be great. If gameplay is your only focus, it's not going to be great. So is it worth $40? Well, first, let's look at its grade real quick. I gave it a solid B for the high school experience, which I felt was generous on my part, actually. But no, I think with the way I do the game and willingness to go and rebuild out the high school to some extent, rebuild out prom to some extent, give us some fun, give us some more interest. Even the classrooms, there's no reason why the classroom, I'm going to try throwing computers on the desk. I'm going to try throwing some stuff into the classroom, see if my Sims can interact with that in some way. Maybe not. Maybe they are locked to that desk and trapped there for eternity. But or until the bell rings, which feels like an eternity when you're in high school. Am I right? Of course I'm right. I remember. But I'm going to try to do it my own way, and I just felt like a solid B was a good grade for the high school experience. Now, for the build, buy, and cast modes, I gave that a high B because things like round walls and windows that open and growable beards and shaving and stuff like that elevated what was a pretty pedestrian cast and build, buy selection, kind of an average, up to that high B. That takes a lot of work, and those are big additions, and those are things people have really wanted. So totally think it did deserve a high B in that case, a high above average. Now, the town itself, the world, it got drugged down by the amusement park, as we just saw, gave it a 70%. So overall, what you're going to end up with this pack is kind of a low B, but it's still a B. I still would say it's above average because some things do really lift up its score from an average pack. Definitely not a failure. Well, let me just acknowledge for the game players again. Let me just throw out this acknowledgement. For them, it probably is a failure. It probably is. I don't think there's not a failure, but not enough to justify, and let's get into this point, not enough to justify $40. Okay, if all you want to do is play this game and that's your big focus is you just do the gameplay, I don't think there's enough here to justify $40 for you guys. Not enough that's going to make you happy. Now, if you are like myself and you like building and storytelling and gameplay, as I've already touched on, then $40 is probably going to be an okay price. I think you're going to be okay happy with that. And maybe even happier than I think. We're going to see how well I'm able to adapt it to the things I want to do. Can I turn that high school into a boarding school? That's going to make me really happy if I can. Can I figure out a way to cram some sort of activities into that class to have my sim do? That's going to make me really happy if I can. And in fact, afterwards, if I get this pack and I can do those sort of things, then I'm probably going to upgrade its grade a little bit, maybe to a middle B or a high B. I don't think it's ever going to be an A. I don't think it would ever be an A. Let's see. Let's see what I can do with the amusement park. If I could do something with the amusement park, maybe I could drag that C up a little bit. Maybe I'll grade on a curve. And that'll help. But I will say that for people like myself like that, yeah, it's probably going to be a B. Yeah, a B. And for $40, it's probably going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. I don't think you're going to like it for $40, but it's a personal decision, you guys. Don't buy it because I'm going to like it. You're not me. You don't play the game the way I do. You don't do the things I do with it. Think about $40. What can you do with $40? What other entertainment can you buy? What other things can you buy? What other things are you giving up to spend that $40 on this pack based on the way it looks right now? And if you look at it and think, yeah, what I'm going to give up for this pack is worth it, and I'm going to get enough hours of entertainment and enough hours of fun, then I would say it's probably something you're going to not regret. I would not regret, and I think you would not regret if you'll hit like, subscribe, and notify for future videos. Coming up when this pack comes out in just a few days next week, I will get early access as part of the EA Game Changers program, the EA Content Creator Network. I will get early access to this like a day. A day early or something. Maybe it's 2 days, 42 hours or something. Yeah, maybe like 2 days, and then so I have it a day, and then the embargo drops and we can start putting things out. I will release builds probably first. So, and I'll probably won't do a full review after the pack comes out. I think just as I do playthroughs and stuff like that, I'll kind of talk about it in a review fashion as I do that. So please hit like, subscribe, and notify so you won't miss that. Coming up starting next week. And in the meantime, thank you. This has been a long stream again. Thank you for watching.